Hello and welcome back to the How I Ripped Off Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast. My name is Jim Thompson and I'm joined as always by Mr. MC.
That would be me.
And a very, very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you, it's Joss Whedon! No, it's not Joss. We do have a guest though. It's Mr. Dominic Pillai. Hello.
Hello.
You're on the podcast.
I know.
Tell us about yourself. Excellent. Well, Dom, you have known us for many, many years, haven't you?
Yes.
And weirdly, you've been kind of entwined into Tamora Gayson lore in some ways.
Yes.
So when I first wrote this as a teenager, a Buffy-obsessed teenager...
Were you?
Yeah, really? a little bit, yeah. I would write the episodes out and I would print them off and hand them out like a zine or something like that, or a comic book. And Dom, I remember distinctively handing you episodes of Tamora Gayson.
Uh-huh.
Dom went, oh yeah, that's great, Chip, thanks, I'd definitely read it.
But you did read it, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, and why?
Because I'm a very good friend.
And is it because people might not have connected this, but you are actually the antiques dealer within the show as well?
Mm-hmm. I am.
Yeah, how do you feel about being in the show and also being the antiques dealer and the voice that we chose for you?
Wow, there's a lot going on there. Well, obviously it's a great honour to be part of this legacy. And I'm basically Giles, aren't I?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. That's what... Yeah, you're Giles. Yeah. Giles is good. It's good to be Giles.
It's good. I like books, and he has a lot of books.
And there's something really sexy about Giles.
Oh, yeah.
And there's something really sexy about me.
True.
Why do you think we invited you on?
Hey.
But you've been a fan of the podcast since the start. You've been very kind with your words that you have said about the podcast. So we thought while you were here in the studio, we'd invite you along to come and guest star on an episode.
Which I feel greatly honoured to be the first and maybe last guest.
I mean, there's been so much demand, all those A-listers just begging to get on.
Sarah Michelle Gellar herself has said, please stop calling me. Well, this is Phobic Part 2. What happened last week, Dom?
I don't
have to recap.
I think
maybe I do have to recap.
Come on, MC, do your weekly recap.
Okay, so, all the important characters, by which I mean MC and some other people.
All the characters who haven't heroically sacrificed themselves.
All the people who haven't backstabbed their friends and tried to end the universe have been kidnapped via evil magic portals to nightmare hell dimension things. Mm-hmm. So last week they were getting a bit better acquainted with these horrific places. So Jay is getting in deep with some pirates.
Yeah, he's been there for a while, hasn't he?
He has. He's been there the longest.
Mm-hmm. And he's about to be eaten alive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
he is, indeed. Louise is in a room,
a nunnery? A three-sided circle room.
In a nunnery, yeah.
Because women love sex.
I think that's where it's going. Yeah.
And low-fat butter.
Obviously. And MC has been bitten almost in half by a shark.
Yeah, he actually got attacked by the shark, didn't he? But he also has a hand for some reason.
Yes,
in his nightmare world, he is like, oh my god, 2 hands, what am I ever going to do? Yeah. Okay, well, let's get back into it then. This is Phobic with MC and Dom, part 2.
Previously on Tomorrowgation.
Louise searched the drawer in the cabinet and found a rusty spoon. She could just about make her reflection out. The nun's uniform covered her entire body from head to toe. MC crawled back into the boat, leaving behind a trail of blood. He knew the shark would be back. It had the taste of him now and would want more. He also knew that it wouldn't be long before he bled to death. He shivered with pain. Captain Wakefield brought him crashing back down to the deck with a vicious clothesline, snapping Jay's head back as he hit the wood. Wakefield pushed his face close to Jay's and said, "I feel sorry for you now, me lad. You could have been one of us. Now, alas, it seems you'll be in us. Smeekly, prepare this thing for the morning. We shall eat him alive." As the pirate Smiggly dragged Jay away, he whispered in his ear,
"He means that literally."
The church seemed friendly enough. Louise had never been religious, but being on holy ground never bothered her. She saw 2 other nuns sitting in the front row, praying. What, is she at like a gig or something? Like, is it she's seeing like Busted Live and there's just some nuns in the front row praying for the souls of all the teenage girls?
I was thoroughly confused until I realised you were referring to the front row bit. I mean, you know, have you ever been in a church? They have rows of seating. It's not...
Yeah, but...
Or did you go to a church and like Busted were playing?
What's a church?
I just wasn't sure what kind of gigs you've been going to.
Busted gigs.
Filled with nuns.
She saw 2 other nuns sitting in the front row praying. She went to join them and cautiously questioned them when someone intercepted her. The person took Louise by the arm from behind and swung her around.
"Good morning, my child,"
the priest said pleasantly. Was that as pleasantly as you could do that voice, Dom?
Okay.
That was great. Okay, sorry, carry on.
What about "Good morning, my child"?
That's creepier, but yeah, go with that.
I'm just going to put us out of a job.
Oh, right, yes. Good morning, sir, Louise replied.
"You are new here."
It wasn't a question. Yes, father. Louise suddenly remembered what you were supposed to call a priest. I haven't been here long.
"Is it what you expected?"
Not really. The priest looked at her quizzically. But I'm looking forward to working here.
"Yes, about that. There are a couple of formalities we need to address before you can begin your mission here."
I'm still really confused about Louise's nightmare world because she's the one that knows, well, in a way, I guess she's the one that knows how to escape the nightmare world, isn't she? So
Yeah.
whatever she's doing is a plan to kind of get out.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the scary thing hasn't revealed itself yet, so I think she's still sort of gathering intel and figuring out what's going on.
I mean, is it not the Busted concert? Is that not the nightmare thing? The 2 nuns who were praying suddenly stopped and left the church area quickly.
"Would you join me in the vestry?"
The priest asked behind a smile. Okay, I'm worried. I'm really worried where this is going. I don't think I had the vernacular to deal with the Catholic abuse problems in the world at 15.
Yeah, maybe not. Well, I mean, there's no mention of choir boys so far, so far so good.
I think I've come here on a cracking episode. I love it when it gets really unpleasant.
I'm glad someone does.
Yeah, it's my favourite bits.
He was an oldish man, probably in his 60s, with a receding hairline of grey.
A reciting hairline of grey.
Oh,
the hairline speaks.
It was just sat there quoting
recites
Shakespeare.
poetry. Yeah.
His white dog collar was the only thing that stood out from his all-black outfit. It seemed to be a colour code in this place.
What? Are there like different ranks of priest according to like or is it like belts in martial arts? You know, like he's only a white belt, so he's new, but the priest with a black belt could kick the fucking shit out of you.
Oh, Priest with the Black Belt would be an awesome name for a comic book.
It would have been.
Okay, I'm going to go write that. I'll be right back, okay? Of course, Father. Lead the way. The priest nodded and walked up the aisle, bowing and making a cross sign over his body as they passed a huge, monumental statue of Jesus Christ being crucified. See, I'd been to a church. I knew what they were about. Louise did the same, just in case anyone was looking. She felt a little guilty posing as a nun whilst holding a sharp object, ready to kill anything that seemed remotely dangerous. No, that seems to fit in with the Catholic Church. I think that's okay. Louise reminded herself how much she liked the film Sister Act.
She just, to get out, you have to kill Whoopi Goldberg.
Who?
Goldberg. She's the lesser-known sister of Whoopi Goldberg, who starred in all the sequels.
Is that like a Mario Sister Act crossover? Whoopi Goomba? The vestry was a little bigger than her room, but with more colour. A royal red carpet accompanied by a large purple recliner, the kind a shrink might have.
You're demonstrating your amazing knowledge of psychiatry in this again.
Yeah, as always. There was also a brown desk. A brown desk?
I like how do you do descriptions? Colour.
Colour is wood.
Yeah.
There was also a brown desk with some papers and a telephone on it. So, what is it I need to do, Father, to be all signed and sealed? Without warning, the priest started to remove his clothes.
Oh, no.
Dom, if you want to leave, I'll totally understand.
No, I'm loving it.
Dom is actually taking his clothes off. He said, keep saying he's a method actor.
Without warning, the priest started to remove his clothes. Louise turned away. I can see this is a bad time. I'll come back later. That's how I feel right now.
Not later, my child. Now.
Oh. The priest was now stripped to the waist. What exactly is this formality? Louise, now a little more suspicious, asked. I don't know about you, but if ever I go to church and the priest starts stripping off, I get like,
Something's going on.
Something's wrong here. What's happening?
It's got a bit of a Harvey Weinstein vibe going on.
Ah, I called the Me Too movement before. I just was apparently on the wrong side of it. Wow, that's not what I meant.
Oh, wow.
Oh, dear. Thing is, like, edit this, I'll just take that out.
The same that every nun must follow suit when she joins my clergy. In the eyes of God, a holy man should not know the touch of a woman. They're deemed dirty, and a man such as myself must dedicate his life to God's work. I have done this, but I am also a man.
Why did we do this podcast?
It was all your idea.
I feel like you're touching on some really important, relevant subject matter, and in a really sensitive way.
A small one at that, Louise said sarcastically as the priest removed his bottoms. She stood now, ready for action.
He removed his bottoms.
Yeah, he had bottoms on and so he removed them.
Like, pulled his cheeks apart.
What, and removed them?
Yeah. Like the sort of stag do ones. Like, they have straps on.
Stag do's have you been on?
Well, with priests,
Yeah.
you have several bottoms.
She stood now, ready for action. The cold handle of the letter opener made her feel safer.
I only allow myself to be touched by women of the Lord, and every female here knows the rules. I have needs, and they need to be fulfilled. They understand it, as you will come to. If you do not comply, I shall be forced to use any means necessary to make you understand the way of things round here. Oh, this is the best episode so far.
I hate my life right now.
This is...
Hey, it's great that we've got one female character and this is what she has to deal with, isn't it, boys?
Oh,
Eh?
there's Tifa as well.
Yeah, but no one gives a shit about her. She's dumb as shit.
I actually feel kind of sorry for you.
No one else does right now, so thanks. The priest was now down to his underwear. He approached Louise and said...
Oh, fucking hell.
Chip can't even look at the screen right now. He's covering his eyes with his hands.
Now, you little bitch, take off your pants. Daddy wants to play. Fucking hell, dude.
Oh, I can see you went to Sunday school.
What is wrong with you?
Do you ever wish your mum had an abortion? Well...
This is the most... This is really bad. I'm sorry.
No, I'm aware. I'm aware, Dom. I'm aware. I mean, we've said it when it's come to sort of issues like this before around Louise, funny enough. When, you know, teenage me tries to deal with real life issues, it's really bad. And, you know, I can kind of see what I was trying to do back then, but it's really horrible and wrong. And I did not have the brain capacity or the emotional capacity to deal with such things.
And that's why you decided to do a podcast all about it.
Yep.
I think you should write a written statement of apology to Louise.
I did that quite a lot, I think, at the start of the podcast. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Louise allowed the letter opener to slide into her hand. She gripped it tightly and lunged by the priest's throat. Knowing he would bleed to death within the matter of minutes, and she would be home. That's a sentence. That was a sentence. We still haven't established if Louise has got her ninja skills in this nightmare world.
I guess we're going to find out, because she's trying to stab a bitch.
The priest easily caught her attempt. She thought he must have been some kind of strong demon to block her ninja speed.
Ah, there we go.
There we go, and ninja speed as well. But as she struggled to get free, she could feel there was no power in this man, nor was there in her. She wasn't a ninja in this world. That literally answered our question.
Didn't it?
We just had to read that last paragraph.
Thank you, past Chip.
No, don't thank him. He's a dickhead.
You're so talented. Keep writing.
The priest used his free hand to slap Louise. She fell to the ground. Now he had the letter opener. Before he could do any damage, another nun walked through the door.
I'm sorry, Father.
She said in a thick Irish accent.
Clearly.
That's okay, Sister Andrews. This one was just leaving. Seems she doesn't know the way of things around here just yet. But you do.
The priest smiled at Sister Andrews. She took her eyes away from his gaze.
Take her back to her quarters and explain to her the way of the Lord.
Sister Andrews helped Louise up and took her out of the vestry. The side of Louise's face had already started to swell, and she missed her ninja healing ability.
What are you doing, disobeying the Father like that?
The sister asked. He's a pervert.
He is a good man. He has helped a lot of people.
Well, tonight it ends. I'm going to kill him.
Definitely tell that. Say that out loud to the people who have been part of his weird cult.
Isn't it interesting that Louise's nightmare world is also mine?
What, reading this?
Yeah, this is my nightmare world. I feel like I've been portaled into this podcast. Yeah, it is weird that Louise is just like, yeah, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him, everyone. Everyone, I'm going to kill him.
I guess it's because that you wanted to put in some sort of dramatic what's name, but didn't have the ability to do it in a way that wasn't just her literally saying, tonight, I'm going to kill him, tonight.
This is like what the ad break would be if it was
Yeah.
a TV show.
Yeah.
Have you found anything?
Shinno-kan asked. Chip sat at the harsh light of the computer screen, shook his head. Nothing. I don't know how many sites Louise visited, but she was thorough.
All 5 that were on the internet at that time.
She went to Ask Jeeves, she went to MSN. Tifa was in the lobby, searching through some of the books the gang had about portals and other dimensions.
I have an idea.
Shinno-kan said to Chip.
Being the entity I am,
Sounds very, very egotistical, doesn't it?
Oh, I'm super awesome, guys. I'm really good at beer pong.
Probably true.
I have an idea.
Shinno-kan said to Chip.
Being the entity I am, I can travel freely into other worlds. I may be able to contact MCJ or Louise through these worlds. I can also ask important figures what they know of what has happened. I shall return soon.
And here's the convenient things Shinno-kan can do. He can just head off to other worlds, ask important figures, who are they?
He's just going to the pub. He'll come back and be like,
Oh, yeah, sorry, guys, and didn't find anything.
"Are you drunk, Shinno-kan?"
No, it's a...
You're drunk.
I always really love how selectively useful Shinno-kan is. It's like, oh, I'm here to explain a plot hole, guys, and then sometimes just doesn't.
Yeah, it's when those important figures come through with some vital bit of information.
Yeah.
Wait! Chip called out to his master. Do you think it's such a good idea leaving us two alone? He said, meaning Tifa.
While it is true that you did throw the young woman to the ground, I have no reason to believe you would harm her.
Except for all the times like before when he tried to kill her and...
Yeah, he threw her to the ground in the last episode.
Yeah.
Hey, it was International Women's Day a couple of days ago.
This is the perfect episode for that.
Oh, I wouldn't. Not again. It's just hard, I guess. What, not throwing women over is hard?
There they are, standing up, not being on the ground.
You know what?
You got a couple arms right there.
Sometimes it's really hard to defend Chip.
But he heroically sacrificed himself. How could you possibly say that?
Atonement always is. Their trust will come in time.
I'm glad you're here. Chip said. Shinno Khan nodded his head and disappeared.
Sorry, I just think it's hilarious that the second after Chip says, I'm glad you're here, Shinno Khan just disappears.
Well, we've established his, care of his ninjas is really poor, which is why 75% of them went evil. Chip sighed. Even if winning the trust of his former friends was almost impossible, he didn't want to see them die.
What a hero. What an amazing person. Hey, I don't want to see you die.
He decided to take a step into the atonement Shinno Khan had spoken about. He left the computer and joined Tifa in the lobby. I'm sorry, he said.
Not sure that was your intended delivery back in the day, but...
Tifa lifted her head out of the book she was reading. That's not how you read, Tifa.
She's trying to headbutt the words into her brain. Ow. Ow.
She's probably got it turned around the wrong way as well.
Pardon?
I said, I'm sorry for pushing you down earlier.
That's okay. Just be sure to put more effort into the apology for when you tried to end the world.
She went back to the book.
There's some stuff in here, but I'm not quite sure where to start.
Proceeded to start by learning to read.
A, B...
No, wait, there's too much credit for Tifa.
A...
B.
Also, I like the sass in, put more effort into the apology for when he tried to end the world. Because everyone's been kind of a bit sassy to Chip since he got back. But Tifa has been the one that's been most accepting, I think we said last time. But obviously that's kind of changed.
I mean, Chip did throw her to the ground.
Yeah, I mean...
And say, I could kill you if I wanted to. But I didn't, so it must be good.
But, if you remember, she did kind of maybe semi-suspect him of being involved, or at least wasn't completely trusting of him.
How dare her.
Don't know why. Maybe she read this episode.
What a bitch.
Here, let me have a look. Tifa passed the book over to Chip. She might not have liked the guy very much, but she was willing to do anything to get MC back. The hole in MC's boat had caused it to ever so slowly to sink. The hole in MC's boat had caused it to ever so slowly to sink. It was already under 4 inches or so of water, and it wouldn't be long until it sank completely. Still bleeding and in a terrible amount of pain, MC knew he had only one chance. He had to abandon the boat?
Because it's sinking. And it's going to sink entirely.
I guess so, but, I mean, does that make any difference to just being in the water anyway with a big shark?
Maybe we'll find out in the next sentence.
Ooh. About 50 feet away in the distance was a bright orange boy.
Donald Trump.
That shark is fake news.
That is like the entire world's nightmare portal land, isn't it?
Donald Trump would love this episode.
Oh, he would.
I'm gonna grab you by the pussy. It's a line that the priest can say. He's a great guy, that priest. I love that guy. We got great priests here. We got the best priests. I just wanted to get my Donald Trump impression in.
Done,
It's far too accurate. He grabbed the harpoon and searched for the shark. He hadn't seen it in a little while and wondered if he had given up and gone home. But knowing the nature of this world, MC could tell it would be back.
That's a very philosophical phrase, knowing the nature of this world.
Thank you.
It's contemplating the meaning of life while being attacked by a shark.
It's a good time to do it, really. He eased himself into the sea and pushed off the boat with his hands. He had to doggy paddle his way to the boy, but having the extra hand helped.
Yay! I'm just honestly really glad he's got both hands back.
Yeah,
I'm so
we
happy
don't want
for
any
him.
representation in this show, do we? Having the harpoon strapped around his waist slowed the swim down, but he needed...
It.
What?
Presumably.
But he needed... He eventually reached the buoy and pulled himself onto it.
I'm still thinking of Donald Trump.
Bobbing in the ocean.
Every time I see boy now, that's what I'm thinking.
He couldn't stand, so he lay across it and once again searched for the shark. There was a bubbling in the distance. The boat had sunk completely now. There was no going back. Then MC saw it. The large fin was swimming towards him from just behind where the boat had gone down. A shark that size wouldn't take long to get to where MC was now. He triple-checked the harpoon and took steady aim. I feel like there's less inventiveness in MC's nightmare world, because his could end in about 3 seconds, whereas Jay's kind of been like mentally and physically tortured. Louise is in a very bad place.
Skip over that.
Yeah. She's in my writing, so it's the worst place possible. But yeah, MC's is a bit like, you're going to get eaten. That's it.
Yeah, it's very true. Very true. Very
Maybe
correct.
it's just a really passive-aggressive way of you saying that you're a really, really boring person.
Your fears are boring.
I feel like that's what you've read into it, but...
But you can't. He's the Padre.
You've got Brummy. Yeah, the Brummy Pizza Man's
Well,
back.
she's Irish Birmingham. Irish by way of Birmingham
Right, I
to
see.
the Hell Dimension.
Okay.
I like you've got a whole backstory for this character.
Sister Andrews, they've been working on a backstory for months
Didn't
now.
you know, Dom, before each episode we workshop every character?
Of course you do.
Yeah.
I can't remember how Irish people sound. Top of the morning. There we go.
Oh dear.
Yeah, had to happen. It's still going to be Brummy.
And even then you just went, top of the morning.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Irish.
yeah.
That's an Irish accent. You just say top of the morning in your normal voice.
Do you want to get like some green on or something?
No, it's going to be Brummy. But you can't. He's the Padre.
Sister Andrews was stunned. So stunned she went into a Brummy accent at Louise's previous statement.
You just can't make threats to a man of God.
It wasn't a threat. Louise pulled her arm away from the aging sister. She could see sadness in her eyes. Obviously, Sister Andrews had been here a long time. He is not a man of God, Louise insisted. No worthy man would treat women the way he does. He is sick, and plus not real.
She was on board until the last part.
I like that's the worst part as well. Like the priest has done all these terrible, awful things, plus he's not real. The sister looked at Louise strangely. Don't worry about that last part. Look, sister, you may not remember what it's like to be forced into something you don't want to do.
Take as much time as you need, mate.
Why does it feel worse to do this line in Louise's voice as well? Like, it just feels more insensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many new recruits has he summoned and raped? Let's move on quickly.
No, I think, do that line again.
No,
Not sure
I don't
picked it
want
up.
to. No, I don't want to. Sister Andrews looked away fearfully, like she was trying not to think about something. Then Louise realised. Only the priest doesn't just use the new arrivals, does he? You're still being abused. Louise reached for the sister's hand and she pulled away, trying desperately to hide the tears that trickled down her cheek. How long have you been here now? Louise asked, resting a comforting hand on the sister's shoulder. I can end it tonight. No one will have to suffer at his hands ever again.
But what can you do? You're but a mere girl.
Here, yes, I am. Oh, no. No, Louise, come on.
Mere girl, just a worthless female.
Here, yes, I am. But back home, I'm someone. I would take him down in seconds. I just need to readjust to my surroundings.
Godspeed you.
Like, God make you quicker. God turn you into the Flash.
Godspeed you.
The sister said before dashing away, with all that new speed she's got from God, I guess. Louise headed back to the priest's vestry. She found him now fully dressed, sitting at his desk.
Changed your mind, have you?
He asked smugly. Louise didn't reply. She just eased herself into the small room and closed the door behind her. The priest met her in the centre of the room and touched her hand with his. Like a knee-jerk reaction, Louise lifted her foot into the Padre's groin. He groaned in pain. And Louise tried to slip past him. He managed to grab her veil.
Foolish girl!
He breathed heavily. The priest then threw Louise over his desk. I mean, he is quite strong for a priest.
For a
60-year-old priest. She knocked everything down, clearing the papers, telephone, and everything else on top of the desk, including the letter opener the priest had taken from her earlier. I feel like that might be an important plot point coming up.
Chekhov's gun right here.
Did you just compare this to Chekhov?
I mean, I know it's not. Chekhov isn't as good, but...
Louise grabbed it and waited for the priest to advance on his attack. Her lip was bleeding heavily and her head hurt, but she knew she had the power of the ninja inside still. It wasn't just about the strength of the body. The mind overcame all things. She saw the priest's feet close it in on the desk. I kind of like this hasn't been drawn out. Like, she's just like, I'm going to go fucking kill him right now.
And also she said tonight, but then she's like, no, I'll do it now.
Maybe it is evening already. It's nighttime already. So it is the tonight.
Perhaps. Good justification.
Thanks. That's about all I've got for this episode. The back of Chip's eyes felt heavy and pushed a tremendous amount of pressure into the back of his head. He had been reading for hours now, and he had still yet to find anything new about the portals. So where did Louise find all this information about door demons and how the portals worked then? Because surely Chip would just go to like the internet history, unless Jade like has it automatically cleared or something. The words in the books didn't seem to make sense anymore. Each sentence ran into the next one, and paragraphs seemed to be extinct.
They were endangered, but poachers took out the last breeding pair.
They've got all these paragraphs stuffed and mounted on their walls.
They're using like traditional herbal medicine, so that's why they're endangered.
Hey, do you need an erection? Just drink this paragraph. Also, I feel like that sentence sums up Tamara Gayson really well.
Yeah.
Each sentence ran into the next one, and paragraphs seemed to be extinct. Then, something seemed to pop out of the book he was reading. It was a small sentence about how someone would escape one of the portals. I've got it! He yelled. Tifa came rushing in from the living room.
You do?
She asked. Yes! Chip replied. She knew she wouldn't like it. There was nothing they could do. It was up to whoever had been trapped in the portal to escape themselves. Wasn't your theory last week that they had to kill the thing
It was.
to get away? So it'd be like the shark, the priest, and then Captain Wakefield, I guess?
Yeah.
The priest seemed to block every punch or kick Louise attempted. Maybe the sister was right, she thought as she lay on the floor. Maybe I am just a girl here. The letter opener was still concealed underneath her dress, but she didn't want to let the priest know she had a weapon just yet. He pulled her up by her hair.
I do have restraints to keep girls such as yourself down.
50 Shades of
God?
Catholicism?
Did you ask me to be on this show just to be an absolute pervert?
I wanted to try and put all this like horridness of this episode on you.
Yeah. It's like, we've got this really horrible character. Who do we get? Oh, let's get Dom. Yeah, he'll do that.
I didn't know this character came into it.
I appreciate you taking one for the team,
yeah.
Dom, because it probably would have been me doing the priest.
Yeah, I mean, just to pull back the curtain a little bit, we don't read ahead on the episodes, so everything we read is fresh to us in a way, because obviously I wrote this, but it was like 16 years ago or whatever, so yeah, this pain's all fresh, Dom.
Well, the thing is, you come out worse than I do here.
I know. That was the final straw. Louise swung her hand, released the letter opener, and watched it bury itself into his skull. He staggered back. So, does she have ninja power then? Because I feel like throwing a letter opener into someone's skull.
Did she throw it or did she stab it?
She
says release, so yeah, I guess
yeah.
she did. I think it's just movie logic
Yes.
where, you know.
Yeah. Do you know what my phobia is, Padre? Untrustworthy men. Bastards like you who prey on weak women just to satisfy their own feelings of insecurity. Not anymore. I'm a ninja. Now that I've killed you, I get to go home. Don't think that was quite empowering as I intended it back in the day. The priest fell to the floor with blood and bits of his brain leaking from the hole in his head. He died.
Oh, what a shame. I thought he was going to be a recurring character, fan favourite, you know?
There was a sudden flash of blue light. The shark opened its gigantic mouth as it got closer to MC. He knew it was no good. He couldn't fight a shark in its own backyard. Like a little lawn.
A flower garden. The shark's growing some vegetables.
I just imagine him on like one of those recliner chairs with a Hawaiian shirt and like a little beer.
Maybe like one of those blow-up pools.
He waited until the shark was only a few feet away, then swam into its mouth.
That's how sharks work.
Is this him attempting a heroic sacrifice? He pulled his legs in quickly. Not that mattered. He was going to die inside the shark. He just didn't want to suffer another bite. Cool, this has got a bit dark, isn't it?
So the shark was just like keeping its mouth open and MC swam inside. Did he like pretend to be a dentist? Like, now open wide.
I think the idea is that MC just thinks he's going to die. He can't beat the shark even though he's got a harpoon gun.
No, I get that. It's just like going inside the shark's mouth without it biting him.
So he doesn't want to feel the pain of being bitten. He wants to be slowly digested.
That's way better.
The pain in his legs had disappeared as his body went into shock from the heavy bloodlust. I don't think that's right. He's just letting all like his legs bleed and he's like, "Whoa, yeah!" MC's skin was very pale and he was having trouble breathing. He crawled his way to the front of the shark's body, just behind its teeth.
What? Oh, did he go in? He didn't go in the end that I thought he did.
The shark's body was so big, he could almost stand up. MC looked at his brand new hand and said,
It was nice to be handy again, even if it was only for a few hours.
He removed the harpoon from around his waist and aimed up towards the shark's head. He fired. The arrow burst through its head, sending brain, skull and blood up in the air. MC could see out of the shark's head now, like a sunroof. Although the bright blue light that flashed in front of him caused him to be blinded. So, wait, I'm a bit confused. So it sounds like MC has given up, so he's going to kill himself, but he's actually got a plan?
I think he just wanted to take the shark out, even if he knew he was going to bleed to death, but he still wanted to take the shark out.
Oh, of course, he doesn't know how to escape the portal world, does he? Right.
Yeah.
So it does make sort of sense.
It does.
Yes, yeah.
Well done. The
thanks.
only time it does. Literally the only time it's ever made sense.
Also, I think that it was nice to be handy again was a proper, like, Bond quip.
Yeah.
Louise hit the floor hard, but she was glad to find that it was only her back that hurt. Okay, her bruises from the encounter with the priest were gone, and she was relatively unhurt.
Louise.
Tifa cried out, in her cried-out tone. Louise got to her feet and looked about the mansion's lobby. God, it sure is good to be home,
You did it.
Tifa said,
You faced your phobia.
just in case you hadn't got the idea behind the episode.
Tifa's finally understood how they escaped the dimension chips. Is we spending like the last 2 hours explaining it.
There's all like these markings on the wall and like...
What's a phobia? Is it a type of pasta?
I think she's turned the book the right way around now, so...
You did it.
Tifa said,
You faced your phobia.
and killed it too. Well done, Chip said cautiously. We've been going through the research he did on these portals and... Where's MC? Louise asked Tifa. Before Tifa could tell Louise about the other portal, MC fell through the sky just like Louise had done moments ago. Tifa rushed over to help him up. She hugged him so tight he could hardly breathe. MC quickly realised he was back and that he was alive. He held Tifa tight too.
I didn't think I was ever going to see you again.
He said.
But you did it. You found a way to get back.
MC thought for a moment.
Huh?
Let me explain, Louise said. We were both sucked into portals created by that door demon. These portals search the subconscious of the host and create a world where your biggest phobias come to life. The only way to escape is to kill the one who scares you the most, if you like.
But only if you want to.
Wait, what? The only way to escape is to kill the one who scares you the most, if you like.
Normally, when there's a typo, I can figure out what sentence it was meant to be, but with that one...
If you can? You know, to scare you the most, if you can kill the thing that scares you?
No.
Let's just move on.
Yeah. Did Jay make it back yet?
MC asked. That's an interesting point. Jay hasn't been in this second part so far.
He hasn't? Yeah, I reckon there'll be a cliffhanger at the end.
Ooh. No, not yet. Chip said. MC walked over to him and said,
I see you got back too.
Chip didn't say anything. Instead, Tifa filled him in. Fucking grass? Jesus, Tifa, alright, blimey.
No, he wasn't forced into one like you guys.
Really?
MC almost growled.
That's a little suspicious, don't you think?
They're talking about him like he's not there, like reading some sort of mystery novel or something. Think what you like, Chip replied. He headed upstairs, not wanting to be around these people who condemned him. Yep.
Do they not know that he heroically sacrificed himself?
Ah, Chip, I'm not sure you can get away with that one, buddy. Do you think he had something to do with it? Louise asked when Chip was gone.
Who knows?
Then MC realised he was standing. He looked down at his legs.
They're fine.
He said, surprised. Yeah, my cuts and bruises are too, Louise replied. Those sort of things seem to stay in those freaky other worlds.
Not everything.
Tifa said as she held MC's new hand.
What if it's not actually MC, though? What if it's like magic clone of MC?
Why?
Don't know. Shut up.
Okay. But, interesting point.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense as to why he could take his new hand with him.
Yeah.
Why? Why has his hand come back?
Magic.
Maybe because... No, I've got nothing. The two pirates didn't need to hold Jay so tightly. He knew it was hopeless. Captain Wakefield held a scythe by his side and addressed the other pirates.
All pirates have a scythe.
Like-
Just in their case they need to harvest any wheat.
Or he's dressed as death.
Yar, boys. That ship over there has been growing wheat and it's ripe for the harvest.
Tonight we eat good. Lovely if slightly skinny boy meat. Oh, boy
meat.
Ugh.
That's not good.
Let's not put that in the lexicon. The pirates cheered and Jay wept. Look at you, Wakefield said. I've killed women and small children with more courage than you. Release him. The two pirates dropped Jay. Then Wakefield handed Jay the scythe. I'll give you a choice, lady. Be a man and end your own life, or let us do it whilst we eat you alive. Fucking hell, so he's got to kill himself with a scythe, or...
Which is just awkward, really.
Yeah, how... Because it's not like you can, like, fall on it like you would your sword. You'd have to, like, hold the really long handle and, like, up to your throat, but then that's not really
I
going
feel like you've thought about it. It's too much.
I mean, clearly not when I wrote this. There was laughter between the pirates. Jay took the weapon and closed his eyes. The pirate Smiggly came towards him, drawl hanging from his chin.
I like it fresh. Don't let him do it, Captain.
Your choice, boy, Wakefield commanded. Jay closed his eyes and thought of home one last time. The mansion, Tokyo, MC, Louise, even Chip, they were the people who connected him to life. He let their faces cross his mind one last time before he raised the scythe, which is quite an impressive feat of strength, I guess. There was a gasp from the pirates. Jay opened his eyes and saw he had sliced Smiggly into 2 parts.
Turned into a fucking anime.
I mean, we had Louise throwing a letter opener into someone's skull.
Yeah.
MC blowing a giant shark's skull apart. And now Jay's managed to slice a human in 2 parts.
With a scythe.
Yeah.
By accident.
Yeah, he missed himself. He couldn't believe it. Whilst he'd been thinking of home, his subconscious had not allowed him to be bullied any longer. Captain Wakefield only laughed. Ha ha ha! It's too late for you, boy! He drew his own sword and leaned forwards. Jay held the scythe right at the bottom of its long handle and swung wildly. Before the blue flashing light filled his eyes, Jay saw the captain's head roll over the ship's deck.
Yay, Jay!
Yay! Well done, Jay! You accidentally got out. Well done.
Jay!
MC yelled as he dashed over to help his friend up. Louise and Tifa joined the 2 guys.
You made it back. You made it.
MC kept saying.
Yeah,
Jay said, a little shell-shocked.
I guess I did.
MC smiled, content that he was once again with his family and they were all alive and well.
I found it!
Shinno-kan shrieked as he appeared in the lobby.
I feel like this is the only time Shinno-kan has ever had an exclamation mark at the end of his dialogue, and this one has 2.
Oh, bless him, he's really excited.
Hey guys, I did something useful.
It's really pointless because they don't need it. It's okay, Louise said. We're all back, safe and sound.
Seems like we all figured out how to get back before you.
MC added. Wow, savage.
Thanks for the help, wise master. How did we get back?
Jay asked. He was still a little confused that his clothes were now different and dry.
I'll tell you later.
MC said. That's me not wanting to put the exposition back in for like a 5th time.
You all misunderstand.
Shinno-kan said.
I have not discovered anything about the portals. Much more important.
The group remained silent, intrigued by what the dead master had to say.
I'm not offended.
I know why Chip was meant to be returned to us.
And that's the end of Phobic Part 2. So Shinno-kan did do something useful.
Also, I like how he went off to find out about the portals. He's like,
No, fuck those guys. Fuck them. Who cares? Chip is the important one.
Yeah, because it's not like he came back and he was like, oh great, you're back. He was just like, guys, I did a thing. So there's this whole thing around Chip was brought back for a reason, but was it for good or evil? And I guess he knows.
yeah, apparently.
I feel like it must be for good, because if it was evil, I don't think he'd be coming back like, guys, I got a thing.
Chip's actually going to destroy the world this time.
Well, I can tell you what I thought of Phobic Part 2. I hated it. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, amazing new character, obviously. I got to dust off my Irish Birmingham accent as well, so that's always good. I hope that Jay gets props for, you know, like, obviously MC has done lots of fighting. Louise has the whole spirit ninja mind brain thing.
Yes.
There was, yeah. Whereas Jay, you know, he's been in some fights, but he doesn't have the same advantages that they do. So, well done, Jay.
And Jay has also been on kind of the peripherals of the group as well, because like when this kind of little arc started, he was off home, like he had enough, and he wanted to go back to England. And I mean, Dom, I'll put this question to you. Do you think, like, you know how now TV series is when there's like a group of main characters and they become like fractured and they're all falling out and stuff like that? Do you think this is the moment when they all come back together?
I think so, yeah. Well, I think as soon as they find out what Chip's plan is, that will kind of make or break this situation. But I think so. I think when Jay returns, like, everyone seems really happy to see him.
Yeah, which is nice.
And Louise was kind of upset when he'd gone, so I think that they will probably reconcile.
Yeah, because it was shortly after Louise had said about not really caring about Jay, never being a friend of his, and blah blah blah. So yeah, you're right.
So what we're saying is they don't need to talk about their problems at all. They just need to be apart in hell dimensions for a little while and everything's fine.
Basically, Jay just needs to kill 2 people and
With a scythe.
Okay.
One thing I find interesting about this season is Season 1, Season 2 was very much, here's the bad guy, here's the good guys, they're going to fight against the bad guy's evil plan. So Jack and Lee, and then Chip, and the One. But this season, why there's Harato and he's doing dealings behind everything and setting things up, there's been like these small arcs, and like we've had like all the portal stuff, and now it seems like we're going to go into like, oh, this is where Chip is back, without really having like an overarching bad guy who's got a plan that we can see.
I don't know. I still feel like Harato is the main bad guy, because I mean he was behind the portals, behind the SWAT,
but he's
all
also
the other
dropped
stuff.
like Mr. Johnson a couple of times, who
Yeah,
we still
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
met or known anything else about.
Yeah,
So there could be more to that.
very true.
But a lot going on in these episodes, isn't there? Well, should we see what next week's episode is
Let's
called?
do that.
Next episode is called Captured, which seems really familiar. It's like portals and like Phobic, and are they just going to go back into the hell dimensions and that's going to be the end of it?
Maybe they'll swap.
What, Chip will go into one? Or they'll send Harato into one.
No, or maybe like Jay will have to fight a giant shark.
With a scythe. Yeah. Well, if anyone out there has got any theories as to what captured means, there are numerous ways in which you can get in touch. You can find us on Facebook, where we're at facebook.com/howiRippedOffPodcast.
And we are, of course, on Twitter at How I Ripped Off.
Dom, do you know where you can find our entire back catalogue?
On iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher Radio.
And also YouTube.
And if you could leave us a rating and a review and tell us about your personal hell dimension, please do that, except for the last part. That would be weird. Don't do that.
Also, if you just want to comment yell at me for being a terrible human being when I was 15, I deserve it, and I welcome those angry messages that will come in. Dom, thank you very much for guesting on this podcast and having to voice the most horrendous character we've ever had on the show, apart from maybe Freddie, Louis, the rapist that got away.
Oh, there's a few.
Yeah, there's a lot.
The one thing I felt sad about was there's no appearance from Foon Cum. Because she's by far my favourite character. And every week I wonder what's going on with Foon Cum.
Let me tell you this now, right? I don't know if Foon Cum ever comes back into the show. But if she ever pops up, I'm just not going to mention it. We're just going to talk around her character and never, ever mention her again.
What's this we?
You're complicit. But honestly, thank you so much for coming on. It was really nice having you on the show. Thank you for all the kind things you said about the podcast, and it was really great having you on.
I've had such a blast. It's been really good fun. I've said this many times before, but I absolutely love this podcast. It's so... it's not just because we're best buds, but it is really...
It helps, though.
Yeah. But it's really, really funny, and it's just great to be here and be a part of that.
Thanks, man.
You mean it's great to see me squirm and be uncomfortable, don't you? Yeah.